This is just a random little hello, and whoa, look, I'm about to, not with a magnet on the end of it, I'm about to make some marks with this here gouge on this here ekki. Now this is pretty hard material, and it does blunt these tools. Something rotten, so it won't be long before I have to resharpen. But still, I just wanted to get started just for fun. This is Gary's T4 Telecaster style. Blimey, try to keep this at least reasonably in one place. T4 Telecaster style guitar made with an ekki bass, everything moving around, ekki bass and U top. I just thought I'd strike the earth as they used to do in drilling operations. First penetration of the wood. So the idea is I can cut a scalloped shape out of here. It really needs two clamps. Takes a bit of whacking, this does, to make it go. Now this one I've put quite a bit of he said in my particular way of looking at it, quite a bit of weight relief, theoretically. So that means I have to be careful that when I'm cutting these scallop shapes or curves into it, that I don't run through and puncture the weight relief cavities. But I've done a couple before like this, and as long as I'm careful not to cut down more than I've got 10mm leeway to play with to make this a scalloped belly curve, rib cage curve. And I've facing up to the fact that I'm going to have to sooner or later sharpen these gouges, and I've got all the kit for it, but it's just it's going to be quite a lot of work to do. They do work beautifully well. I mean, I've bought some quality ones, that's for sure. So, previous to this, I used to have to cut these carves with flat chisels and sand it out with sanding wheels and things. It really was difficult. I mean, you can see it's not simple here with a good quality tool, but it's sure as heck better than trying to do it with a flat chisel, which is nigh on impossible. Now you can see that working against, well, actually it's quite hard to determine whether this wood ever is against the grain or with it, because it's a interlaced grain, I think, a bit like wingy or wenge, as some people call it. What could be the correct name for all I know. Anyway, but yeah, so this doesn't seem to have a predictable grain that you could really know what you're doing. So you have to be sort of conscious of that. And so, but you simply find there are some ways that work quite effortlessly, but it's quite difficult to work out why. Now, one of the things that I can also do here to make this easier is there's a lot of carving, a lot of filing out I could do at this point. Got quite a bit just to take this down, because it will take quite a while to get there doing it this way, but I could also a bit of hammer help, because we want this to be a fair cutaway. Good fun. Carving. And the wood's going everywhere, as you'd expect. So basically we kind of go down to close to the edge that we want, and then work the rest of it into a curve to meet that edge. It's probably the best way to do it. But like I said, we've got at most 10 mils to play with down there. That, if I've drawn that correctly, that shouldn't be more than 10. Yeah, there you go. So it's quite a lot to take down if we want to go that far. I mean, we don't even have to, but it looks wonderful and feels wonderful with a nice curve in it. And this comes up to meet the body again at this end, so obviously this bit is shallower and it gets deeper as we go down. You have to just keep that in mind. Henry the Hoover will be doing some service shortly. So he digs into the grain at certain points. And here we have the wonderful shavings that is ekki, a remarkable, interesting ekki. So, like I said, the key issue here is to not slice into the weight relief cavities, and if I've calculated it right, it won't, but if I've got it wrong, it will. Carving granite. Whew. Good to sort of take a look at where you are as well, so you at least don't run over. Kind of difficult, not the ideal thing to work on this bench really. And get a huge amount of fixing options, but you can sort of get in there a bit. Some directions of the grain you get to really see this sort of chocolate finish that just immediately polishes up with the blade. I mean, it really does. It shines it up straight away. This has to be quite a steep bit. It's got little end bits of the grain there which look like pips, which they're not, obviously. So it's a fair old job, but it is hugely satisfying when you get there, and then you can, once you've got the bulk of it, you can dig the curves more carefully. Bearing in mind that you've just got to make sure that the bottom of the curve, or the bottom of the carve I should say, can't be more than 10 millimeters deep, or else we will risk running into the thingy. But I avoided this area altogether, so I think I probably could go, if I remember now, I could go as deep as I wanted in that thing. Like I say, some ways of doing this can be easier to do some of this with a file. gravelly quite quickly. Oh, I'm sorry, I've got my phone going off nearby. Anyway, that was just a starter view for fun. See if I can knock this down again. Right, can we reach? No, we can't quite reach. No. Difficult to do. But a lot easier than it used to be without the gouges. You can see a combination of tools will get you there. It actually works better when you do have a bit of overhang here that you can run off. Difficult to arrange on the bench. Without smacking your knuckles on there. So a lot of them that I've done before would begin with this sort of filing. You know, you'd end up with a flat slope, and then you can take some of that away with turn it into a gentle curve with the gouge. Out of the way. Move under there. Thank you. So, and this way you can get a good view on it tons of ekki dust, and then basically you've got to cut into there, which another file is a bit better for. The trouble with files is they do wear out very quick. Ooh, one or two. Forgot I had two of these. One might be a bit sharp. So you can get quite a long way with the flat file and the curved file, but then obviously you reach a point where it's still only convex. Once you reach that stage where you can't really get more out of it, you have to work with the gouges then, and that's in both cases you want to kind of start with your edge line and then come in slightly concave away from the edge, so it's quite an interesting 3D challenge. And obviously coming in from the edge is difficult because it's hard to get it right on the edge. But like here, when you find it, you're in the middle area, and that's where you know you're trying to hollow out. You can get quite a good run at it. You just have to keep conscious of the overall shape. And if you're digging in on one direction, you've got to be able to come smoothly up the other side to come out of the curve. It's nice to do. Hitting into the grain there. Nice, making it. This is a really nice physical process. When you get down to the curve you want, it's a really satisfying thing. You've got a fabulous shape. You've worked into the wood with your own bare hands. Whew. You have to be aware of how the shape changes as you go through along the area here, because it stops being scalloped and becomes more of a wall, a steep slope. We lose the scallop at this end of it, really. Eventually, but not completely till yet. Yeah, so it sort of twists over into goes from scallop there into a more of a straight wall, and the scallop sort of fizzles out around about here. So you have a sense that you know where the most hollowed area is. It's kind of the centre of this bowl kind of lies in there like that, and everything else is coming away from that. So you're kind of working in towards that, and then up the other side, really. Of course, you hit the grain in different directions, so that's quite tricky. You can also see some of the silica that this wood has built into it. And it makes those white patterns. Okay, getting there. And at the moment, it's mainly, it's not got the sophistication or the subtlety of the shape yet. Or, the scallop doesn't feel very pretty or curved, but it will do. When you get down here, it gets quite difficult to work this little edge, maybe downwards, but you can't really work it upwards, so tend to give up at that point. Concentrate on digging downwards a bit more from this edge. Create that bowl if I can. Don't mind if I stall in the middle a bit, I can tidy that up afterwards. I also want to come down into there as well. So, and that's not good on the grain, so readjust and try it another way. You can see when it runs against the grain because it scuffs up that sort of white furry finish because you're tearing the grain. But we can tidy that up on the way out, if you like, with a finer work. So I'm just trying here to get to the edge as close as I can. I can always sand that over so it feels like a nice edge. I'm just trying to make sure it doesn't rise up to too fat an edge. It's quite warm doing this in our current British summer. Loads of bits everywhere, as you can see, and it's all just by eye. Now I know that once I've got this down low here, I can come in from that side again and just try and tidy everything up. So I'm sort of focusing on the curve from this front edge, probably more than anything at the moment. Even if you have to stop and leave the curls there, you can re-smooth from the other side or scallop it from the other side to tidy that up. If you can't get it on this side. So I've still got my outline happening here, so I can keep an eye on that so I don't cross that and go wandering off to change the overall shape of this cutaway. It's important that you don't, obviously. And then I'm conscious that this bit at this point is going to get steeper and it's cutting roughly across the grain a bit now. So be careful. Mainly, more than anything, just to be careful that whatever the shape is I do, it blends and feels like a nice twist over into this more of a straight face with less of a curve in it. Again, you've got quite a lot of room to keep cutting. It's a very slow process, as you can see. I'm currently doing a little test in the house with a bit of clay to try and determine the shape of Nick's final colour caster, which has changed shape a couple of times in such a way that I think does quite have a significant impact on the carving possibilities, which is fine. It just needs thinking out, trialing. But in some ways, even though I like to add in the clay modelling stage to see what we've got, or to get a sense of 3 dimensions before I actually get to the wood, it still doesn't really, it doesn't equate, it's not the same as having the wood in front of you and being able to do this. So realistically, I'm probably always a get on it and do it type of person. You can see how nice the shape's starting to emerge. So now I can tack it down here if I can. And then once again cut down from here. Here I'm sort of trying to blend this curve as much as possible into the existing curve and just see where it's not actually working or where it's got some sticky out bits. A little bit fiddly at this end, as you can see. Nice process. Oops, dug in a bit too much there. I like to do it mainly by hand, try and avoid the hammer if possible. Find that way you get a much better sense of control over what's going on. You have to stick your tongue out when you're doing this sort of work. You know that. It is a required human thing. Now in some ways with this guitar, because I don't have weight relief under here, it's almost better this, we take quite a, not severe, but quite a substantial cutaway curve into here, because it helps with the weight reduction as well as anything else, as well as feeling and looking great. And this is where it's going with the grain really nicely, and polishing as it goes. You see some of those grain strips going down there, and they do sort of stand out. You can feel them, but again you can fill them with what do I fill them with? Finishing oil or something like that, and they fill up. Or you can use something like nitro matte nitro lacquer, which again it partly fills them and leaves a nice texture that it's not quite rough, but you can still retain some of the quality and the essence of the grain, which is nice. Hello. Talking to the camera whilst chiseling away. Thank you. I thought I needed a bit of manual labour, so I started doing the carve on this. Because it's got to happen at some point, I might as well get it kicked off, since it's such a nice thing to do.
Wow. Exciting stuff.
This is Gary's number T4, I suppose it is. Gary's T4. That's what the plan is anyway. And a little bit of luck. I sent him some pictures last night of my T3, because I think he was, no, I don't know if he's seen, I don't think he'd seen that, but I think he was thinking of a 2 pickup guitar, and I said to him that my T3 with 3 pickups works really. I like the range of tones on it, so he was kind of, oh, let me have a look. Headachy.
I feel terrible. I feel like I've been running for 5 hours.
Can I sue the council?
I only just got up.
It's not really 5 o'clock, is it? Look, that's done.
What's done?
The Cosmos. Cosmos number 1. It plays surprisingly well too. Huh?
I that's why.
Yeah,
But it's got to be.
I think it is
better than when they brought it to
no,
you.
definitely. But I think it's saying on the video a bit earlier. I think it's the kind of thing that I suspect Hugh will find a real place for it in his set. Actually,
I'm sure he will.
He's
Make
yeah.
it so.
Yeah. You know, maybe it'll be a Polish polka. I'm just making that out. I don't know what the Poles used to like to listen to.
They like to listen to AC/DC and
Yeah.
Iron Maiden.
I just remember my mate Roman's brother Richard, who had one of the early Reloved guitars, and I can't find on the catalogues which model it was, but I remember that he turned his back on punk at the time and rock and went straight to wedding bands. So he was much in demand amongst the Polish community with his
That's where the money is.
strange Reloved.
Weddings and bar mitzvahs.
Yeah. I never heard him play, but it would have been interesting to know what the tunes were at a Polish wedding in the early 80s. Anyway, I'll be coming in for a break in a minute. I'll see you in a bit. Okay. Can't quite get around this damned clamp a bit, but so you can see we're kind of getting to where I want to be, and from now on, more or less, it's going to be finessing it, which is quite difficult to do with such a hard wood, because it tends to want to dig in and then you're taking bigger chunks. So at this stage it would probably make more sense, I don't know where I put them, to use scrapers, and a round scraper. Yeah, where did I put them? It would have been there, but not anymore. Buried over here somewhere, probably. Now they're metal, so maybe I did something clever, like hung them up somewhere with a magnet. The answer is no, I didn't. Come on, chum. Well, you would have put them somewhere sensible. Over here, maybe. No, okay, I'm going to have to go and do a sort of sanity check and find where I put them. You'd think, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you just think they were somewhere sensible? But no, I had to sharpen them at some point, so, oh, here they are. I thought that's where they were. Right, so, I don't know how much life there is left in them, but there you go, not bad. Sort of helps, that's what we need really. So a curved scraper helps to smooth the cuts out now. Again, this will be blunting the living daylights out of this thing, because it's hardwood at the best of times. But anyway, I can, if only for a matter of taking some time to sharpen everything up, we do have the correct tools for this. It's a nice process. Feels great to use a scraper. I don't know why I didn't discover them before, but as I say, really, I think that's what you need for finessing the thing, and really get subtlety into it now. And then of course you might end up sanding it out. But this bit really does help you to take down the ridges and the marks left by the gouge. It allows you to get a more organic feel out of it as well. There we go. I mean, obviously that's dulling it up now, and once it's smoothed out we'll get that beautiful shiny chocolate, polished chocolate finish back out of it. It's also quite adaptable for one-hand use if you have to. Certainly using the curved bit anyway. There we have it. You can just do that day in and day out and you get this lovely, beginning to be scalloped, a bit more digging in there to go I think, but you know, it's on the way, and it's the lovely belly cutaway for your man boobs. So even with this, if I want to focus more on this hollow in the middle, or hollowing in the middle, I can just spend a little more time there and make sure I dig a bit further, whilst also doing the whole general shape of it that we're after. But it really is an invaluable tool, this. Sorry, noise. Yeah, you can really get where you want. Now of course with the, I wouldn't use this with these edges, I'll just file those and then sand those back by hand, but it's definitely a boon to have scrapers for this part of it. Well, you can see the, you start to see some of the, what do I say that stuff? Silica that's built up there, shining through. Anyway, I'm going to stop there for a minute and go and drink my tea, but then so that's now on its way, and you can see it's beginning to have a nice organic shape. It'll look even nicer when this is curved off a bit, and in fact the kind of more scalloped it is, the sexier it feels. And then on this side we do have the cutaways to contend with, so on this side the aim of the game is to basically cut away upwards on the U, and keeping in mind the 10mm deepest sort of cut. So you can basically again trace it out by starting the cut and varying it as you come around. And then we go all the way down to the 10mm line, which is a sort of safety mark. It's in the middle here, and I'm doing it at right angles to this. I go down to the 10mm mark, and bring everything up in a curve from there. I should be fine and safely clear of our, what's it marks, you know, our holes, those things, weight relief holes. Now when you're doing this, I thought if you're going to do this, I've still got, even with these scallops and even with these curved edges, rolled over edges, still got enough flat space to put my template on here to do these cutouts. And this is my time honoured T-shaped cutout with its little insert. So I have to make, from this I have to make a lid, as well as from here I make the step. Well, this is the main cavity, that makes the step, and that also makes the lid. I have to make a lid out of something as a dummy or a template, probably a piece of ply will do. But anyway, even with those, all those curves cut in it, you've still got enough flat space here to stick the templates on, and the same applies here. There's tons of flat space. The only place obviously it will start curving off is down here, but if you're doing the pickup routes, they're all going to stick nicely on there. So you can do all of these curves early on in the process to kind of get a feel for it. If you're good at drawing the lines, you can do like I've done and draw them on and then follow them. Now this is going to have a curve all the way, so I can just continue that curve around there, approximately meet up with the lines, and then that's as narrow as it ever gets, and same around this side. This is a bit shaggy, that white wood, it's quite cool. Okay, so once you've got your kind of getting towards your lowest points, then the job is to basically bring it up from there in a reasonable curve. It's got to be organic, so you can't really mechanically do it. And obviously, since it's graduated, you can't really guess. By the time you get up to here, there's hardly any curve at all. So it's never sort of purely scientific. You're trying to get a blend, and it obviously gets steeper as you go down here, which is theoretically where you get the comfort from, because it rounds over logically. So if you're the kind of person that needs a guide, you can kind of cut your own first trough in it, and you can get a sense of how the other sides have to be cut to meet up with that, and then try and make it just about meet the top in a nice smooth curve. Like I said, it's not easy to do, but you sort of see where I'm aiming for. That's my sort of guide line, and there's still a bit of room on this to bring it over to the top. The handle actually gets in the way, so you can't quite get up to here with coming from this side, but the rest of it is fairly straightforward. It helps to clamp it down. Now with this, because there's no unusual concave curves, it's pretty much all doable with a file. And it's an eyeballing thing, really. As you can see, I'm still trying to keep it roughly in right angles where possible to the line. So I don't think at this point the scraper would help none. Probably once you've got the bulk of it shaped, it's probably better to go to a rough sandpaper. Ouch. quickly because you can see I've only done some of the area, but sort of generally speaking, you can see it's starting to roll off there. You know, and you can kind of come at it from the other angle, kind of keep an eye on the overall shape as you're doing it. Okay, well, it's not brilliant, but it's not too bad at all. See how nice it goes with the grain too. So, sort of heading in the right direction with that. And then you can, if you're like me and you can't wait, you want to go around the whole thing with a bit of a curve or a bit of edge bevel. Over the edge where you get a good reach at it. These edges bits are a little bit harder to get to, but you can see you can round all of it off, including this bit here. We don't want a hard, sharp edge there at all. So this will join this other bevel here. Sort of thing. And this is a lot harder, as you can tell. But it gives you a sort of head start on how it feels, which is quite nice. So there we go, we're underway. T4 is on the go. It looks beautiful already. If I may say so, a couple of bits where I filled, where they're not visible right now. There's a couple of tiny fills down here, might need even another one or two. Just a bit of resin in there too, where the edge of the joint wasn't brilliant. These are quite hard to get in here and bevel these off, so I haven't done quite as beveled as the others. This is fun, I like this bit. Hard work. It starts to feel like the guitar at this point. The guitar that you or someone is going to play and grow to become one with, which is what I like about it. It starts to be the guitar. So now this U is a little bit crumbly. Just have to be a little bit more delicate when we change over to the U side of it. It's like resetting your brain rather than switching your tools over. And in the end, I never mind about whether I actually hit the exact lines that I'm aiming for or not, providing it feels right. And the guidelines are just that, you know, they're guidelines, so they're not, they don't dictate that you have to get there. It's quite hard to get into that one with one hand. Nearly there. Okay. I think for starters, Gary boy, this is where it starts. Now we're going to have the carve on the belly, carve on the arm, and probably a little bit of, maybe a little bit of a flare there, and it might even be, just for comfort's sake, I might even really want a bit of a flare there, maybe a bit wider. Something like that. I don't know. I can do it. Just thinking of it sitting on the knee. We don't want it to roll over all the time, but also at the same time we don't want it to be uncomfortable, which is not anyway, so maybe we won't do that. So yeah, why change a successful formula? It worked pretty well the last time. Right, take some pictures and call it quits for now.